So we'll start in a few moments. Hello, good afternoon, everyone. So I'm sure we have a lot of uh, interested participants today. So good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are proud and grateful to welcome you to the second Team Philippines National Tourism and Hospitality Virtual Convention and Skills Competition. This program allows us to witness skills being flaunted and gives us a chance to hear from passionate and dedicated professional resource speakers who will encourage and empower young minds and hands with their potential careers, right, Miss Cheryl? Miss Cheryl, please unmute your Zoom mic, please.
Ayan.
All
Okay.
right. So
Okay.
this
Yes. Sir Francis, I'm really excited for this convention and I'm so overwhelmed for this opportunity. Ayan. So, ayan.
okay. So we have here Miss Cheryl Adorna from Team Mimaropa, and she is the uh, ano position mo, Miss Cheryl, sa Team Philippines
Give,
Mimaropa?
given a task to be the chapter secretary of Team Philippines Mimaropa, which I am proud of.
Yes. Okay, and I am Francis Rosada. I'm the Vice President External for Team Philippines National Capital Region.
Hey. So, Sir Francis, it's an honor and we are the host for this afternoon's convention. Okay, but before that, please allow us, of course, to thank and give gratitude to all the participating schools, companies, and schools who have made this event possible. So with that, we would like to thank our sponsors, which namely as we have the Seda Hotel, there you have it, we have the Seda Hotel, Ayala Land, Coca-Cola Incorporated, NutriBoost, P.com, SKN Taste Like Home,
Of course, Agi Travel and Tours, Hotel Turi Palawan, Frankie's Cupcakes, Cakes and Confectionery, Tolma Sessions, Aristocrat Group of Companies, Mr. and Mrs. Ong of St. Matthew of Blumentritt Institute of Technology, and St. Matthew Hospitality and Technology Institute, and Jose Rizal University. would like to thank our sponsors. This event won't be possible without your help. Thank you so much. So we believe that everyone is participating in this activity, are excited, so let's get started. So let us remember that we are in the holy presence of our Lord, and as we have Miss Krishna Vicente to lead us in a short word of prayer.
Let us put ourselves in the presence of the Lord. Dear Father, we thank you for everyone gathered here today. Thank you that you know each of us by name and have caused to walk with you. We say that we are dependent on you and our trust is in you completely. As we surrender ourselves in adoration, we welcome you amongst us today and celebrate the gift of life that you have lavished upon each of us. We ask that you would open our ears so that we may hear your voice, open our minds so that we may receive your eternal wisdom, open our spirit so that we may know your leading and guidance, and open our hearts so that we may receive your wonderful love. Lord, we thank you for the judges, facilitators, and participants with us today. We pray that you would give them great inspirations as they share with us what you have placed on their heart. We pray that you will fill them courage and give them your peace. We ask all this in the glorious name of Jesus. Amen. Amen.
Amen. Sir Francis, don't you know that our today's convention program is considered to be the first virtual tourism and hospitality skills national competition? So it is indeed an honor for both of us to be the host for this momentous event. Okay, and Team Philippines indeed commits itself in providing tourism and hospitality management programs like this that will hone and develop our faculty and students to be professional and intellectually competent and to become socially responsible person. So that's our goal and objective of Team Philippines Mimaropa. Okay? And in line with that, okay, our organizers and committee would like to give a few and important online and virtual reminders to get the most out of this program. Okay, Sir Francis, would you like to read or to share our few friendly reminders before we head on with the actual program proper?
Most definitely, Miss Cheryl. Thank you so much. So we have a few friendly reminders. So please kindly mute if you're not, to avoid background noises. And for us to easily understand or to identify your identity, please change your Zoom name to your school name or organization name, followed by your last name and first name in this format. And then we would also like to inform you that this is a recorded session, and please also don't forget to fill out the evaluation form right after the event ends. Thank you so much.
Okay, so we hope that our virtual participants would observe our convention decorum for us to maximize this event. Okay, so for this national convention, we will hear from three, not just one, not just two, but three dedicated, passionate, and professional resource speakers who will talk to us about the challenges and opportunities of the MICE digitalization. Ayan. But before that, may we have first the founder, the national president, or the father of Team Philippines, which is none other than Dr. Robert Lim Joseph, which will be giving his open remarks. And he will be introduced to us by our chapter president for Team Philippines Central Luzon, Mr. R.D. Glenn Domingo.
Hi, mabuhay, everyone. It is my pride and honor to introduce to you what I call as a tourism champion. He is the brains and strength. He is the national president of Tourism Educators and Movers Philippines. He is a known in business and peers as a staunch tourism advocate. With his extensive experience as a diplomat and as an airline executive, he has developed the awareness of the ins and the outs of the industry the know-hows that addresses the issues concerning genuine aid that uplifts marginalized communities. Among his several distinguished accolades are the following: Manila Yacht Club Commodore, the chairman of Philippine Wine Merchants and the Wine Museum Hotel, the honorary consul of Latvia, and also the founder of the network of independent tour agencies. He is also the head of SCAL, a professional organization of tourism leaders with 400 clubs around the world that promotes global tourism and friendship, for his relentless efforts for the promotion and development of tourism in the country. Students, colleagues, industry partners, teammates, and friends, the one and only Sir Bobby, Dr. Robert Lim Joseph. A virtual applause, please.
Thank you, RD. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's
Question
really,
hindi pa alis.
sorry.
Go ahead, Pastor Bob.
Okay. I cannot see myself now, but anyway, I'll start. Good afternoon once again. Thank you, RD, for your little research. And I appreciate that very much. Anyway, I'll be very comfortable if everybody just calls me Bobby. And as we grow into this world, most important thing is connectivity, cooperation, networking, and that is what tourism is all about, domestic and international. We, as president of the Rotary Club of Manila, the first in Asia, which is 102 years old, we are networking with other Rotary clubs also, like SCAL, but having sister clubs in order to develop not only tourism, and we are doing practically, we are having meetings practically locally and internationally every day since I took over. So this is I admire very much you young guys who is trying to get more better technology and improving, because mice today, this this kind of projects will definitely be very, very positive and very, very productive to us in tourism. I would like also to say hello to Attorney Donette Mendoza Leones, a dear friend. Hello to David Hind and my good friend Joel Pascual, President of Paseos. Thank you also to Professor Sarah Monson, our President of Team Philippines Mimaropa, for hosting this affair. I know that this will be a very successful one, and I've decided to cancel some of my appointments just to focus on this event, as I also would like to learn from you. The most beautiful thing in life is that I have been 71 years old. I always like and I always want to engage with the youth of today, because it is the youth of today who will be teaching us, the oldies, on some technologies that we can adapt, learn, invest, support, not only as we enter the world of tourism, from farm tourism to organizations, international networking, promoting our country, especially so now that it is we're just waiting for a good time. We know that the Department of Tourism and the Tourism Promotions Board is getting ready when things will turn a little bit normal. And as we improve our situation, so we can create real domestic tourism on a bubble way, limited to points, uh, towns and cities, and the rest of the world. We see to be a little bit positive, we have to see it from 2023 or 24, that things will normalize. So I appreciate Team Philippines for still being very passionate in seeing to it that we are active and we develop our skills as we go along the way. Congratulations to everybody. Thank you so much. Maraming salamat po. Mabuhay kayong lahat. Salamat.
All right. Thank you so much for that. The father of Team Philippines, Dr. Robert Lim Joseph, thank you very much for that very heartwarming message. So I hope you can continue to inspire more tourism advocates to continue your burning fire. Thank you so much. Okay. So right now, to formally begin our sessions, may we have Professor Maida Gabarda, Team Philippines Memorable Chapter Treasurer, to introduce our keynote speaker.
Good afternoon. Our honorable speaker this afternoon is an educator, organizational development practitioner, leadership coach, and a lawyer with extensive professional experience in public sector, strategic and reform management. She holds masters in public management from the joint program of the Lee Kuan Yew School of Public Policy, National University of Singapore, and the Kennedy School of Government, Harvard University. She also completed her master's in National Security Administration at the National Defense College of the Philippines and earned her Bachelor of Science in Political Science and Bachelor of Laws at the University of the Philippines. She has served as an Assistant Secretary for Personnel at the Department of National Defense and Assistant Secretary at the Department of Labor and Employment, a member of the core faculty of Ateneo School of Government, and serves as a subject matter expert for the Career Executive Service Board Leadership Development. Earned the distinction to be the first and only recipient of the prestigious 10 Outstanding Young Men and Award for HRD in Government Service in the Philippines. From 2007 to 2020, she serves as an Executive Director of the Career Executive Service Board, transforming the key programs on leadership, selection, training, and development for higher civil service. Since 2020, she serves as a Chief Operating Officer of the Tourism Promotions Board. Ladies and gentlemen, to give her keynote speech, it is my honor to present a woman of substance, Attorney Maria Antoinette C. Velasco Alones.
Thank you very much, Professor Maida, for that wonderful introduction. And I also would like to gratefully acknowledge the opening and very apt remarks of Sir Bobby Joseph, yung founder ninyo, ang mentor ng tourism sector, and inspiration sa mga kabataan. Nakakatuwa na marinig natin ang isang stalwart, isang paragon sa industry who expresses hope and the willingness to listen to our students. So nakakatuwa na yan ang ating umpisa. May I request our tech team to please allow me to share my screen. And while we are doing that, team, pwede bang itaas ang inyong kanang kamay at pakitapik ang inyong kaliwang balikat and say, you are doing very well. Kasi ngayon, walang nagaganyan, ano? So, sa mga kasama natin, hindi kayo ma-pat on the shoulder ni Sir Bobby. So, tayo na lang muna. Okay? Pat your shoulder on the left and say, you are doing very well. And keep going.
Very well.
Keep going. Okay.
Yes.
So, may I be allowed to share screen, please? Oo. Okay ba yon? Parang sariling sikap na muna tayo, no? Sa sa ating pagpapuri sa mga ginagawa natin dahil mahirap ang ginagawa natin dito sa virtual background. Okay, so let me share my screen and hopefully you'll be able to see it also in both platforms. So can you see it now?
Yes.
So you have asked me to talk about the challenges and also how do we embrace and anticipate the opportunities that lie before us, particularly in the aspect of digitalizing MICE. And sabi ko, napaka-timely nito kasi sabi nga ni Sir Bobby kanina, MICE is one of the hardest hit subsector within the tourism industry. So napakagaling ng inyong napiling topic na pag-usapan ngayong hapon. Let me start with a boring slide which just grounds us on how MICE is defined so we have a common understanding of what we're talking about. So the UN, WTO, and the International Congress and Convention Association defines MICE as anything that promotes an activity based on organizing, promoting, selling, and delivering products and services, which include, nakikita nyo dyan sa ating screen, dati, prior to the pandemic, thousands tayo kung mag-convene ng mga conventions, meetings, yung mga government conferences, kayo, like what we're doing today, except that we're doing this virtually. So this is a classic example of a MICE activity. And congresses, exhibits, even the trade fairs are all within the definition of MICE. So yun po yung scope of MICE. And maybe just also to ground us on why is it important to even pay attention to MICE events? Why do we want to pursue this? Bakit sina Sir Bobby patuloy na nagne-network and cultivates partnerships with Rotary clubs, with other associations worldwide and within the country, just so we can keep planning and hopefully finally stage the usual MICE events as we knew them before the pandemic hit last year. There are about 7 reasons why it's important and we value MICE. And of course, top of the list would be its economic impact. MICE activities usually generate a higher average daily expenditure. Do you know, team, that 6 times higher, ang expenditure ng MICE delegates than the usual leisure tourists. So, napaka-importante yan. Siyempre, we want to be with candor in saying na, kaya naman natin to ginagawa, di ba? Hashtag ekonomiya din. Kailangan din natin ng gasolina sa bulsa, sa sasakyan para umandar yung ating mga economic activities. Second, MICE activities sort of transcends the barrier for seasonal limitations. So for instance, yung mga leisure tourists, tatanungin tayo, what is the best time to go to the Philippines? Kasi, syempre, yung mga gustong mag-beach, we cannot convince them to be here during our, ano ba yun, Sir Bobby? Habagat po ba yun? O ano yung isa? Na season natin, masyadong maalon. Oo, amihan. So, may mga seasonal limits, But for MICE, because usually the venue is controlled in an enclosed environment, then that particular concern of the limits posed by the seasons is not present. So, kasi, ito yung sinasabi nating, parang kumbaga kay Miss Vilma Santos, this is the tourism event for all seasons, yung MICE. And then, of course, I put it in parentheses because I don't want naman to put the leisure tourists in like second class sila, but it's really just in parentheses, better quality of tourists because MICE events gather specific professionals. For example, may conventions yung doctors, the nurses, we have wellness practitioners or all sorts of professional occupations. And therefore, nakita ko na rin to personally for myself when we organize them. It's easier to manage the group kasi masunurin sila. Yung mga business persons, they really follow and adhere to guidelines, the protocols. So what is meant by the better quality there really pertains to the types of tourists that come, meaning these are business professionals and also executives, no, in their respective professions. And so there is greater ease in managing them. There is also greater efficiency in terms of ensuring that our protocols and guidelines for safety and health are actually adhered to more efficiently. Then, of course, when we conduct MICE events, and like what we're doing today, and as mentioned by Sir Bobby kanina, kinancel ko na lahat ng appointments ko kasi gusto kong mapakinggan kayo and I want to learn from you. So, MICE events always provide us a platform for transferring knowledge and also technology. And, of course, yung information that we get from speakers, from the questions that hopefully you will be able to ask later, will also enable us to learn how best the others have done last year. So what are their best practices that we can actually emulate for ourselves? Then MICE events also provide for what we call the bleisure. So meaning ito yung combination of business and leisure. The tourists or the MICE participants go to a particular destination for that specific MICE event. But by experience, we have seen that they will extend for a week, for a few days, and explore the destinations and products that are also offered by the venue. No? So kaya sinasabi natin, may business na tayo that derives higher economic impact. Then it also generates and creates opportunities for leisure activities to be pursued. Sixth, well, of course, nandyan yung opportunity for us to benefit from the business and trade. So MICE events also cover exhibitions, trade fairs, B2B or business-to-business meetings. Last year, when we pursued hybrid FinTechs, we still generated about 400 million in projected revenue. So these are the kinds of economic and business interests that we continue to sustain or generate from MICE activities. And of course, ultimately, all of these six contribute to us being able to positively project a good image of the country, the Philippines. I think when I met Sir Bobby last year and we had a lunch, one of the impressions I had of him was that he is a very patriotic person. So he's not doing this for business sake. He is not doing this just so we will all thrive and survive in the current situation, but also because it is his patriotic duty as a Filipino to contribute to helping our country, the Philippines, na tumayo. Let us be resilient and recover from this enormous challenge. Let me briefly share with you that in last year's data of the International Convention and Congress Association, by March last year, they actually recorded about 4,385 association meetings scheduled in the Philippines. Ang dami, no? And these are, of all sizes in different venues. But of course, we knew the story that last year, many, if not all of this, except for the activities and meetings scheduled between January to February, practically by March when we started the lockdown, all of the events were either canceled, postponed, or rescheduled to a later date. In fact, the PASEO's report, if I may share them, and I'm sure my good friend Joel Pascual will also, I'm sure, expound on this. These are the forgone revenues last year from the events not having been able to happen. So like for MICE venues alone, estimated worth of revenues that were forgone is about 450 million pesos. And that translates to about 250 events. And nakikita nyo dyan kung ilang million square meters of exhibition space that were not actually utilized. And that 450 million estimate does not even include yet trade revenues, the logistics revenues that are all part of the support mechanisms to stage MICE. For organizers, naku, malaki rin ang kanilang revenue losses because of cancellations, about 1.35 billion pesos. And on all in all, the estimate of Paseos last year is that the loss of potential business generated from exhibitions can actually go as high as 8.1 billion pesos. So you can imagine, my dear team champions, the kind of a situation, the adverse effect on MICE sector alone because of the pandemic. So that was last year, and as we speak today, akala natin 2021, okay, raring to go tayo and restart. But as always, we are agile and resilient people. So we we have flexibility to gradually still adjust to the current situation. We still find ourselves in the lockdown, but this does not prevent us from actually pivoting to a better normal. So it's not just the new normal or the next normal. I think as co-advocates and champions of tourism, we all must pivot and adapt to the situation in a way that paves the path forward to a better normal for us. And for MICE, that's why I put that picture there, it's really practically a large part of that goes to being able to stage our activities virtually. Let me briefly share highlights of the summary of the Future of Global Association meeting research conducted by ICA last year. So ito, naniniwala sila na yung COVID-19 will remain, but that will significantly change the way they operate in the future. So organizations are reviewing the events, how are they going to do it. A lot of them are looking at digital propositions and also reviewing their membership models. And a huge part of that survey respondents, 84% intend to include hybrid and digital events. No? So nakikita natin, that's a major trend. More than half of the respondents also believe that there are limits to the ultimate success of virtual events when compared to face-to-face meetings. But 28% said geographic rotations are also under consideration and might likely to change in the future. But a large part of them, again, would say they will consider the use of meetings management company going forward. So kung kayo po ay apprentice dyan or you want to start your own business, maybe this is one way to go forward. No? Create or organize your own management company or meeting management group. And there is significant opportunity for the supply side of the meetings industry to support clients through increased flexibility and innovation. Okay. Having shared that, this is the summary of forecast for the year 2021. And this might change a bit given the current situation. Top of mind priority would still be safety. And there is a gradual return to face-to-face, although most events will still be radically done in a hybrid format. Then, of course, yung pinag-uusapan natin ngayon, digitization and flexibility of venues are important. And the venues should have the capacity to actually stage virtual and hybrid events. Traveling for MICE is expected to return by the last or third quarter of the current year. And also, these events are expected to be geographically phased in terms of restrictions in the different areas across the region and even around the world. And even within the country, we face our inter-regional, inter-provincial, zonal protocols. So for the Tourism Promotions Board, last year we were agile enough to shift our strategies. And there were 3 strategies we adopted. And the top of that 3 strategies is actually our shift to smart tourism. By smart tourism, we want to strengthen available digital platforms and also harness the manner by which we gather data so that it will inform and shape our policy and planning exercises and expand other digital technologies and tools so that we can continue to do promotions and marketing in a strategic, sustained, efficient, and effective manner. Last year, because of this decision to shift to smart tourism, hindi kami nagpatalo sa takot. We were not cowered by fear, but we mastered enough courage to still stage the FITEX in a hybrid format last September. In October, we staged the MICE annual conference, but purely virtual. In November, we launched the Travel Philippines app. And right now, it is actually being upgraded and expanded to allow for more functionalities. And in December, we still conducted the regional travel fair, albeit on a purely virtual format. So you see, my dear team champions, no, that the pandemic, we should even thank the virus to some extent because it compelled us to pursue creative innovations so that we will still be able to do the usual things expected of us in an unusual way, no? So kumbaga may innovations talaga. What are the benefits of smart tourism? Why do we even want to push for it? So for one, ay tayong mga champion din ng environment. Well, it actually reduces carbon footprint and COVID-19 infections. Di tayo lahat lumalabas, walang face-to-face, so minimize ang transmission points. And then the remote work, hindi tayo nagsilabas ng sasakyan, walang masyadong lumilipad na eroplano, so yung carbon emissions minimal din. No? In fact, sabi nga, nakahinga si Mother Earth from our respite, no, of travels last year. Of course, this also helps in reducing marketing costs. And in a way, improves business transactions because you actually have real time. Kaya lang minsan yon, no boundaries na, no weekends, kahit gabi, and then the difference in time zones, no, it actually forces us to wake up in the middle of the night to have meetings halfway or also somewhere around the globe. So in the TPB's shift to smart tourism, we did both of this, digitization and digitalization. Digitization means we actually endeavored to convert to digital format many of the materials, the information that we have, the data. Right now, the TPB is endeavoring to put up an electronic portal of all resources, photos, videos, so that you can also use them for free. No? And digitalization naman has to do with converting our business processes and shifting them to digital technologies. So even internally for TPB, we have our human resource systems being done also online, our procurement system, our fleet management system, lahat kami ngayon nagko-computerize, no? So that's part of digitalization. I'm putting the slide here para yung mga students natin, you will also be familiar with how you distinguish between the two. This year, we sustained the shift. This photo was taken March 17 in Okada, where we conducted the hybrid Tourism and Technology Forum. This was the first of two forums. The second one will be in September. So we opened a lot of slots. No, actually, this was for free to everybody. Our social media participants were about 8,000 people, and we appreciated the many inputs. The global speakers gave us a lot of insights on how we can in fact harness digital technologies in support of tourism. So we hope to have you in September when we run the second of the Tourism and Technology Forum this year. As I close, there are about 5 C's that I would like to share with you, some of which were mentioned by Sir Bobby. So how do we grow? How do we grow our grit? How do we grow our grit in moving forward, particularly for the MICE sector? Those of you who are much, much younger, na naabutan, si Dora yan, di ba? Dora the Explorer in the forest of money trees. So how do you grow money trees, no, in MICE? So the first C is clear vision. And I like the analogy of a tree when I speak about growth. So in terms of the tree, the vision must be our grounding. We have to be rooted in a clear vision. Sabi nga sa Alice in Wonderland, if you don't know where you're going, then any other road will take you there. So, team champions, sama-sama tayo. Let's clarify. Where do we want to go? Where are we headed? What are the kinds of things we want to achieve? The second C has to do with the compelling purpose. We have to be guided by our why. Why are we doing this? And I purposely put that against that money tree because I wanted to remind you that, money should be the least of our considerations. When we do things, it should be the least of the considerations. We're not doing this for profit. We're not doing this just for the sake of earning something. There must be a more noble, sacred purpose on why you are doing that, on why we are doing the shared things that we are doing towards the vision that we want to achieve. The third C has to do with collaboration and convergence. Sabi nga ni Sir Bobby kanina, we cannot do away with partnerships. We need to develop friendships. We need to cultivate communities. And ako, honestly, sasabihin ko to dito habang nandito si Sir Bobby, in my 1 year and 2 months as Chief Operating Officer of the Tourism Promotions Board, nakita ko, sabi ko, napaka-complex nitong tourism sector, no? Cast of characters, maraming bida, may pabida, may kontrabida, iba-iba, no? But it really requires maturity and being guided by that compelling purpose and going back to the vision. Why are we doing this? And why do we want to do this together? And to me, another beauty that I saw from the pandemic was that, whereas before that, I think my sensing was, syempre, they compete, no? But during the pandemic, the competition became healthy in a way that it became a community-centered competition that was also blessed by sharing. Like, ito mga ginagawa natin. Kayo, anong ginagawa ninyo? In fact, I started in November a weekly TPB members chat. Every Wednesday at 3 o'clock, we meet and we share stories. And we've had stories where people cried. We've had sessions where people left the weekly chat inspired. Ay, pwede pala yun, mga ganon. So yung tulungan nandyan, yung spirit of collaboration. Bakit? Tourism is a sector where we will not be able to achieve our goals if we do not converge. If we not bring in DPWH for the roads, the OTR and the private sector to build good toilets. We will not be able to develop products if we don't have the local government units with us. And most importantly, as I have seen, the private sector drives the development and growth of tourism in all other countries I have been. And so for us, this is a key challenge for the private sector. But for as long as I am TPBCO, you have my commitment for convergence and collaboration. Which brings me to the fourth C, which is putting the needs of our customers at the core of everything that we do. At the end of the day, the vision, the purpose, our way of doing things, meaning convergently and collaboratively, this has also to be done in a way that answers the question, what's in it for our citizens? What's in it for our tourists? What's in it for the community? What is the value that we are creating for the many things that we are doing together? And finally, and this is the final C, which I bring to the ground, that is, all of this should be done fueled by our shared committed stewardship. We are all mere stewards, my dear team champions. Yung position mo ngayon, pahiram yan ng Panginoon. Nilagay ka dyan kasi may mission ka dyan. Yung resources mo ngayon, blessing sa'yo yan. Binigay yan sa'yo so you can also share abundantly. As a steward, as team stewards, what is your commitment? And I hope that all these 5 C's are something that will bring you, inspire you to greater action, spark a renewed sense of hope, because we are all in a time of darkness. But having said that, it is also my prayer that you will also constantly choose to be a light and to share God's light in your family, in your communities, in your organization, within the Team Philippines group for our country, particularly in this time of great darkness. As I close, let me share with you the audiovisual presentation or the video clip of what we prepared to remind everybody, as I wish that we will all meet again soon, no? And hopefully face to face. But before that, let us be reminded of these protocols. maraming salamat po. When you are ready, we are ready to meet again. In the meantime, wear your mask, wash hands, and keep your heart hopeful. And as Pope Francis urges us, be instruments of light and instruments and vessels of God's love. Happy Easter to you. Maraming salamat po, and God bless everyone.
Yes. Amazing. Wow. Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you also, Professor Maida Gabarda, Team Philippines Mimaropa Chapter Treasurer, and of course, a heartfelt gratitude to Attorney Maria Antoinette C. Velasco Allones for that very fruitful,
Yes.
inspiring message that you have given. So,
Correct.
Attorney Maria Antoinette Velasco Allones is the Chief Operating Officers of the Tourism Promotion Boards of the Philippines. Kaya no doubt, Sir Francis,
Yes,
imagine
correct.
Tourism Promotions Board were able to project and inject the richness of Philippine culture and heritage, adapting the digitalization aspects. See, we will the
Correct.
I was so amazed with the promotional video that was shown to us. Okay,
Yes, I
so
was.
yes, for sure, our participants have also gained a lot of wisdom which they can apply as they continue and follow their passion in tourism and hospitality after what have Attorney Maria Antoinette have shared and imparted to us. Yes.
True. That is correct. So I was actually smiling all throughout the video. No, nakaka-happy. The
Me
music.
too.
The sceneries, the
Yes.
culture is there. Everything, even the food is there. It's a complete package. You can see the whole Philippines
Yes.
in a less than 1 minute video. So thank you
In,
for sharing that with
mm,
us,
not
CUO.
just
Thank you so much.
not just that,
Thank
Sir
you.
Francis. Yes, in a digitally
Correct.
presentation. So
Yes.
I feel I feel so overwhelmed kasi it's holistic. The gastronomy which we are promoting all in one. Thank you very much
Tr-
and congratulations, Attorney Maria Antoinette C. Velasco Allones, for that.
Correct.
Tonette,
So I
thank you
just
so much, Tonette.
Yes
Thank you
po.
rin
yes.
po, Sir Bobby.
All right. So I just want to point out some of the words yung mga nag-still sa akin na words, no? So patriotism, these are the words that stuck into me. Patriotism, safety, no? Resiliency,
Yes.
smart tourism, di ba? Courage, no? Yun yung pinaka-importante. Opportunities, no? Uh, contribute to the country, no? Yun yung mga nag-instill. Sinulat ko talaga sila. Ayan, no? I have here.
Sir Francis, Sir Francis, I thought ako lang yon, but yung pala ikaw din. I also have,
Yes.
I noted down those words. For on my part, I have what inculcated in my mind is this one: virtually, resiliency as what you also have,
Yes.
adapting innovation, okay, the digitization and digitalization, the difference between the
Yes.
two. And I love how Dora explore. Okay, the vision, the
Correct.
purpose, collaboration and convergence, customers need, commitment, and we as stewards of this
Correct.
industry. Uh,
Yes.
Sir Francis, una pa lang yan.
Oo.
One speaker, one resource speaker pa lang ang nagbibigay at nag-i-impart sa atin. We still have two more to expect as we
Yes.
go along.
One
Okay.
third pa lang. Okay.
Yes.
So, moving on to introduce our first speaker who will talk about preparing tourism and hospitality students in the MICE digitalization. May we have Professor Krishna F. Vicente, the Chapter Public Relations Officer of the TV Philippines Mimaropa.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. It is my honor and privilege to introduce our speaker for this afternoon. He is the current president of the Asia Pacific Institute for Management and also the president of the APM Academy, chair of the Sri Lanka Institute for Event Management Board of Study, and also adjunct professor, Faculty of Business and Management and Faculty of Tourism Hotel and Tourism Management, University Technology Mara, Malaysia. He is also the managing editor of the Asia Pacific International Events Management Journal and also the chief executive of the United Kingdom Event Industry Academy and also distinguished professor at Changhua University, Taiwan, and visiting professor at Bali Institute of Tourism, Indonesia, Batam Tourism Polytechnic, Indonesia, Bandung Institute of Tourism, Indonesia, and Palembang Polytechnic of Tourism, Indonesia. Again, Professor David Hein, our first speaker for this afternoon. Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Thank you so much for that very kind introduction to me. And it's my great pleasure to be with you today at this wonderful MICE event that's being organized digitally. So I'll just go to screen share and put my presentation onto the screen. So I hope that you can see my presentation in front of you, and the title for my presentation this afternoon is International Best Practice in Designing Online Events. And I hope that what I'm going to be sharing with you today is best practice, and it is focused on quite a lot of detail in how to design online events to an international standard. So I'll speak for approximately 30 minutes, and I hope that you enjoy my presentation. Unfortunately, I can't be with you this afternoon in the Philippines, but I'm speaking with you from the United Kingdom, and I'm speaking with you from my home city, which is called Leeds, which is right in the heart of the United Kingdom. So that's where I'm with you from today. It's afternoon in the wonderful Philippines, and it's early morning here in the United Kingdom. As you've heard, I'm president of the Asia Pacific Institute for Events Management. For further information about APM, please look at our website, www.theapm.com. And for students or other faculty lecturers who want to join us on Facebook, we have a closed Facebook group called APM Student Membership. So please send a friend request if you'd like to join us on Facebook. And we also have an open Facebook page, which is just simply APIEM, Asia Pacific Institute for Events Management. So mabuhay, and I hope that you enjoy my presentation this afternoon. And in my presentation, I'm going to be explaining to you how to create an online event that excels. So it's going to be quite a lot of detailed information. So I'll take my time in explaining some of the detail, but I hope that through my presentation, you'll understand what we've learned about organizing online events during the pandemic. I'm going to start off with a quotation though, and I think that this quotation is very important for us all, irrespective of where we live in the world or what type of organization we work within or what sector of the economy we work in as well. The quotation is from Arundhati Roy, who's a famous Indian author. And in April 2020, so 12 months ago, he said, historically, pandemics have forced humans to break with the past and imagine their world anew. This one is no different. It is a portal, a gateway between one world and the next. And I think that's a very important quotation to start my presentation with, because in 2019, we had a great world. It was wonderful. And then in 2020, we were all affected adversely by the pandemic. But the pandemic has changed us. It's changed our world. It's changed our world forever. So we are about now to enter a new world. A new gateway is opening for us. And we have to understand what the implications are for us within tourism, hospitality, and events. And these are my views on the future. And I think that we now have to think differently about designing and hosting professional events. We have to think differently. We have no choice because of the pandemic. And in 2020, we've been very fortunate in that we've had a variety of different online events. We've had many, many webinars, and a webinar is a fantastic way of communicating using technology when we can't meet in person. And a webinar is really like a seminar. It's where somebody speaks, as I'm speaking at the moment, and the participants hear my speech, and they receive the same information. So a webinar is like a seminar in the classroom. We have a speaker, we have an audience, and the audience receives the same message. But we've also seen in 2020 and 2021 virtual events. And there's a difference between a webinar and a virtual event. A virtual event is giving the participant the opportunity to curate their own experience. And a virtual event can be anything such as an exhibition, a concert, a festival, an art show, a meeting, a convention, a conference. Because with a virtual event, we can have multi-sessions taking place virtually online. And the participants can choose which session to go to. So a webinar is uniform. A virtual event has multi-track opportunities. Webinars should be quite short, no more than 2 hours, but virtual events can last for a longer period of time. And then finally, in 2020 and 2021, we've had hybrid events, and hybrid combine face-to-face delivery with online streaming. So we can have an audience in the venue, and then that event can be streamed online all over the world. So the starting place for my presentation is to say that when thinking about online events, there are 3 different types of online event that we can organize: a webinar, a virtual event, or a hybrid event. But they are all online events. And they've all been enabled because of the events industry technology ecosystem. And again, my view is that we're now seeing technologies in 2020 and 2021 that we would not have seen until probably 2025. So the pandemic has accelerated the way in which we can use technology for staging events. So that's an important point. We've accelerated in the pandemic our use of technology. And this has enabled webinars to take place, virtual events. This is a pet show. You can go to visit the dogs, the cats, the rabbits at the virtual pet show, and the live streaming of hybrid events, a virtual graduation ceremony. So the technology developments in 2020 and 2021 have enabled a wide variety of different online events to take place. And these online events are fantastic because we can have delegates from all over the world, thousands of delegates. So it's opened up our world from being an in-person event of maybe 200, 300 people to thousands of delegates all over the world through the streaming facilities that are available. So what are the benefits of online events? I won't go through all of these points on the screen now. I'll just pick out one or two of them. We had no alternative during COVID-19. The events industry had to change, and it changed to using online. I've talked about large audiences, and with online events, there are lower costs. We don't have to hire a venue. There's no food and beverage. They can be quick to organize. They're definitely more sustainable because I'm in the UK and our listeners are all over the world and we don't have to travel from our homes. So they're more environmentally sustainable. They're more inclusive because we don't have to think too much about people's accessibility. So there are many benefits to staging online events. But there's also challenges. And I'm only going to talk about two challenges, and they relate to digital fatigue and concentration. We're all looking at screens this afternoon, and we can lose concentration. We can switch off. And we also have to think about digital behavior. How long can people watch our screens for at any moment in time? So one of the big challenges of online events is the behavior of the participants through digital fatigue and concentration and their general behavior. So there's benefits to online and there's also disadvantages. But I'm going to focus now on really what have we learned about organizing online events during the pandemic, and what are some of the best practice tips and guidelines I can share with you this afternoon. The first thing for me to say is that the principles of organizing an online event are the same as for the principles for organizing an in-person event. The principles are the same. Every event that's organized should include creativity, storytelling, experience, design, and digital technology. So every event, whether it's in person or online, should have those 5 building blocks. The context of organizing an online event, the difference. And I'm going to talk about the context now of organizing online events using these 5 building blocks. Creativity. And this is my view again. This is what I think. I think that when you are organizing an online event, you are producing a TV show. It's a TV show that you're producing. And you have to put yourself in the position of a TV producer and director of a TV show. So that's the first important point. And then you can take a number of creative decisions. What will your TV studio look like? Who will deliver the content? Who will be the hosts? What is the purpose? Where will your studio be? So that's the first point I'm making this afternoon, is that for an online event, you have to think of yourself as producing a TV show. And the picture you can see in front of you is a TV show from the United Kingdom with an online audience. And this is what an online conference studio looks like. Everybody is attending using the same virtual image as their background, and it looks professional. It's a TV show. And when the TV show is being broadcast, this is what we see on our screens. We see the audience and we see the content together. So when you're organizing an online event, think about creativity. Remember, you're producing a TV show, and you have to make your TV show, your online event, look professional. The second aspect of creating an online event is storytelling. And I say every event should tell a story, whether it's in person or virtual. The challenge with an online event is that the content has to be absolutely fantastic because there's so much competition. We're here today in this wonderful team online event. The content's fabulous, but there are other competing activities that we could be doing this afternoon. We could actually be watching television. We could be watching Netflix. So the content that you use for an online event has to be such that your participants want to watch it. So that's a very important point. So how can you create great content? Well, perhaps having wonderful speakers. This is an event that APM organized last year, and we had 6 wonderful keynote speakers from all over the world: Australia, India, Malaysia, UK, Taiwan, Russia. And through these keynote speakers, we were telling a story, and the keynote speakers were telling a story. So that's the second aspect of the building block. Every event should tell a story. The content of your online event is so important because you're competing against many other events that are taking place at the same time. Your content has to be fantastic. And the content can also be about the participants. And these also are the participants from our conference last year, from the wonderful Tagic City University. So think about the stories and think about how you can tell those stories through your event. The third aspect of an online event is experience. You have to create a rich virtual experience for your participants that isn't just a webinar. And over the last 12 months, there's been a lot of attention given to how can we create an experience for the participants at an online event that immerses them in the event itself. And technology enables to do this. We can have live polls. We can have breakout rooms. We can have Q&A sessions. We can have virtual happy hours and cocktail parties. So we have to think when we're organizing an online event, how we can immerse the participants in our online event. What experience? And the pictures that you can see in front of you is at the conference we organized last year. We had a digital souvenir bag. We had a conference library that was available 24/7. It's still available now, 365 days a year. We had to think about how we could get feedback from our participants using QR codes. So you have to think how you can immerse your participants in your online event using technology. And then you have to design your online event. So remember, you're producing a TV show. It has to look professional. You need production quality that is professionally designed. But you also have to think about your schedule. Have what I call a chunk-sized program. Have speakers who speak for no more than 30 minutes, 20 minutes. Chunk your program because of digital fatigue and digital behavior. Include breaks in the program so that your participants can have a cup of tea, a cup of coffee, go to the washroom, and think very carefully about how your online event will look to the participants. What will be its design features? And think about the way that you communicate about your event to your participants. And again, I'm showing you some images of the conference that APM organized in November 2020. 3 days before the event started, we had this shout out through social media. 3 days to go. Get ready. We're starting soon. 2 days to go. Get ready. We're starting soon. 1 day to go. We're nearly there. Get ready. Now we've started. Registration has begun. Go to Zoom to link in to our conference. And then after the conference, thank you for joining us. Thank you for listening. So you have to design your online event to capture the imagination of your participants and to make sure that your design for your event is similar to if it was a TV show. And then we have to think about technology. The final building block is technology. And technology for online events is in two parts. First of all, event participant facing technology. Every event, whether it is in person or online, needs a website, registration process, email. Never ever forget the importance of email. You need social media, event evaluation technology, an app, and a integrated technology platform to stage and host and to broadcast your event. So you have to think about having as close as possible to a professional style of event facing participant technology. Then you have to think about event production. What will your TV studio look like? And again, this is Tageig City University, and one of their events using online technology, and this is their studio. This is what it looks like. So you have to think about the lighting, the audio, and if you're producing a video afterwards, how to edit it, and what technology to use, Zoom, WebEx, or whatever. And you also need to have somebody behind the scenes, 2 or 3 people behind the scenes, to manage the technology, to make sure it works and it doesn't break down. So technology is an important part of staging an online event. And again, concentrate as much as you can on having a professional technology support for your event. So those are what I consider to be the 5 building blocks of creative event design, irrespective of whether it's an in-person event or an online event. The 5 building blocks are creativity, storytelling, experience, design, and technology. You need all of those when designing any type of event. But there will always be a demand for in-person events. So although I've been talking about how to create an online event, there will always be a demand for live in-person events. And there's many reasons for that. And an important reason is because in-person events are points of connection. When I'm speaking at a conference, I can look at all of the participants. I can look them in the eye. I can ask them questions. I can see if they are concentrating. I can see if they are falling asleep. I can monitor their behavior and I can react to their behavior. I can't do the same thing with an online event. I'm just talking to my screen, looking at myself in my video shot, and I can't interact. So there will always be a demand for in-person events for many, many different reasons. But what of the future? So I'm coming towards the end of my presentation now. So what of the future? We're in April 2021. So what does the event industry look like? Well, for the rest of 2021, different countries around the world will be opening up. There will be in-person events starting, which will tend to be in this year local, regional, and national. But next year, we are expecting international in-person events to return, where people travel to different countries to attend in-person events. But the return of international in-person events will be based upon behavioral factors and hygiene standards at the destination. Will an international business person be prepared to travel to an international event in a specific country if it has still a questionable hygiene and safety record as a result of COVID-19? So there's going to be behavioral and hygiene and safety issues that will affect the return of the international events industry in certain countries around the world. But hopefully by 2023, international events will be fully recovered. But remember what I said at the beginning, the pandemic is a portal between one world and the next, and our events in the future will have a different shape, a different character to what we've had before, because we are all now more used to using technology. What about events in the future? Yeah, as I said, as hopefully you can apply, they will maintain and grow, but only for certain types of events and mainly for business events. So where we can have people coming together without having to travel, the technology will enable that to happen. So for meetings, for conferences, I'm sure we will still have virtual and hybrid events in the future, and webinars for smaller scale meetings. Which event jobs will boom post-COVID-19? Well, again, I think you can probably pick up from what I've said so far. Jobs relating to technology. Technology is going to increase in importance. And so for all of the students who are listening today, you are tech savvy. You are the tech savvy generation. Keep up to date with all the skills in how technology can be used in events and hospitality and tourism. Develop your skills in designing websites, hosting events, even developing applications. And I'm sure that there'll be a demand for your services. So my final quotation for you today is 200 years old, from Charles Darwin, a famous biologist, 200 years ago. And he said, "It's not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent that survives. It is the one that is the most adaptable to change." And I think that that is as true today in 2021 as it was when he first said those words 200 years ago. We have had and we are learning how to adapt to change in this new world that we find ourselves in as a result of COVID-19. So thank you for listening. I hope you've found my presentation of benefit, and best wishes to everybody who's at this wonderful event this afternoon. So thank you so very much for inviting me.
Thank you, Mr. Professor David Hind, really for that informative, comprehensive, and valuable presentation. Sir Francis,
Yes,
that
true.
was I agree on the quotation that was given by Professor Hind that the only thing in this world that is constant is change.
Change,
So,
correct.
and in line with that, yeah, we have to embrace change. We have to adapt change and open our minds for other opportunities. Yan.
Correct.
Okay. So, thank you also, Professor Kisna F. Vicente, the Chapter Public Relations Officer of Team Philippines Mimaropa. And as what I have mentioned to one of our valued speaker, thank you very much, Professor David Hind, the President of Asia Pacific Institute in Programs Management. We did
Yes.
appreciate all the things that you have imparted to us, especially for us tourism educators who's also in line with events. And we look forward that for what you have mentioned, the arts and science of not just online, also face-to-face event execution. And I have also
True.
written it down for my future references going back to my station. Uh,
Yes.
yes. Okay. So,
So,
uh-huh.
so like
And
what?
now, as you have other things to say, Sir Francis.
Yes, like what Dr. Hines said earlier. We should at least have three tech people behind. So if they only know how many tech people are behind in this event, we have roughly around 15 people to operate everything. So, and also my takeaway here is online behavior. Of course, no, you have to have a storytelling. You have to
Yes.
have the tech savvy generation. So I'm really proud of the people behind this event, wherein they organize everything from the details, from our virtual backgrounds, from our AVPs. Everything is digital and it tells a story. So
That for us to showcase professionalism and as TV, as just like a TV
correct.
show. Ayan. Okay. So, and
Yes.
now to introduce our next speaker, who will talk about MICE digitalization, challenges, and opportunities. May we have Professor Jonawin Elizabeth Santos, our Team Philippines Mimaropa Chapter Board of Director for Membership.
Thank you, Ms. Cheryl. Everyone, let me introduce to you the President of Philippine Association of Convention and Exhibition Organizers and Suppliers. He is a professional mechanical engineer and is currently President of Baron Engineering Supplies, an industrial refrigeration firm with nationwide operations. As a serial entrepreneur, he is also President of Commissary Kitchen, providing back-of-house services to various food service establishments. As a publisher, he is on Top World Food Magazine, the only food trade publication in the Philippines. However, it is in the events industry where he has carved out his most significant achievements. With 19 years of experience tucked under his belt, he has steered Pep Group Incorporated into a leading professional events management company with some of the biggest shows throughout the Philippines. Most recently, it has become part of Tarsus Group of companies from London. Thus, it is now known as Pep Tarsus Corporations. As a way of giving back to the events industry, he is now serving as president of the Philippine Association of Conventions, Exhibition Organizers and Suppliers Incorporated. He is also a founding director and a lecturer of Philmice Academy, the only certification body in the Philippines for professional event organizers. Ladies and gentlemen, virtual applause for Mr. Joel Pascual.
Hello, hello. Hello, everybody. Good
So,
afternoon, John Owen. Thank you for that introduction. Ang nabigay yata sa'yo is the long version. Sorry to bore you guys with that introduction, but just the same, Team Philippines, ang tagal nyo na ako hindi na-invite. It's been a long time since I saw you, since you invited me, but it's nice to be back. I'm glad that you are still around, and apparently you've gotten a lot stronger. All right? So let me
Yes.
go ahead and share my screen for now. I'm not allowed to share. Can I share my screen? Can somebody allow me to share my screen via Zoom?
Yes, one moment po.
Okay. Anyway, it's such an honor to be here with both CEO Tonet, SEO Tonet, and Professor Hein. Okay, guys, I still can't share. Sir Francis, am I supposed to share via Zoom or via StreamYard?
Via Zoom po.
Yeah.
Wait, one moment.
It says I'm disabled.
We apologize for the technical difficulties. Oh.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, yeah, okay. It's a good day today. So we won't let any glitches stop us from, making it the best day possible. After
Yes,
all,
I
no,
agree.
adjusting to the pandemic and glitches like this is part and parcel of doing events, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let me dive into the presentation. Professor Hind actually discussed a lot about taught you about ways to do it. What I will be discussing to you is actually how we in Paseos have delved into it, we dove into it, and actually practice different kinds of evolution. All right? Just as a reminder, MICE is meetings, events, conventions, and exhibitions. And what binds all of this four together is the word business. And when you have business, usually you have business travelers. All right? And a lot of people think that the MICE industry is small. It's actually big if you consider all the other entities that is involved in creating one. And it really does affect both tourism and trade.
Yes.
MICE is a catalyst for economic activity. Having done this for 21 years, I know this for a fact. No? It really does. It really just does jumpstart trade. It creates a lot of foreign and domestic commerce, and it really does create jobs. For the purposes of my audience here, I really would like to emphasize that MICE helps boost foreign domestic tourism. It does. Example, when I do my WOFEX in the provinces, we easily can fully book hotels and airplanes simply because we bring WOFEX to, let's say, Palawan, Cagayan de Oro. So there really is even domestic tourism that is boosted by MICE. It is no wonder that most of the world's most progressive countries have prioritized this industry. However, when the pandemic came, siguro lahat tayo, no? This is how we were. Pero kami talaga, all of the efforts that we have been pouring in to build our brands, to build our events, to build our name, went all down the drain. We didn't know exactly what we were going to do, and this is exactly how we look like. But after maybe feeling sorry for ourselves for a couple of months, all right, we thought that it's about time to pick up the pieces, all right, pick up whatever is left of our resources and to fight back. How did we fight back? We fought
Joel,
back. Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but your slide is not moving.
It's not moving?
Yeah, maybe you can click the slideshow. It's still showing
I'm
the
playing
first.
now. I'm playing the slideshow now.
No, it's not moving.
Oh,
At least
should
in my
I?
screen,
I'll stop again. I'll stop
But I
again.
just want to give you the feedback. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Guys, wait. Where am I now?
You can start to share. We lost your screen, your slides altogether.
Okay, let me reshare again. Sorry, as I said, this is live.
Oo. Saka sorry, nakialam na ako. Para na ako
Oh,
may
it's okay.
production.
I'm glad you told me. Kesa I went on and on without really showing my presentation. Yeah.
It has happened to me before. That's why I thought of informing you.
Thank you, CEO. Oh, it's not showing. Here. Okay. Can you see if you can see it now? Can you
Yeah,
see it?
we can
It's
see it
on
as a,
presenter's view po.
it's a
Sir.
presenter view. So maybe you want to click the the,
Slideshow.
the slideshow. Yeah,
Okay.
there.
So is it
And
moving
There.
now?
Yes,
yes,
now it's moving.
Okay. So
Thank
let me
you.
go back. No, not go back, but move forward. Okay. So as I said, this is how we look like during the pandemic, but we decided that we will fight back. How did we fight back? Okay. I've given this a few times before, but as you will see, we are an industry that is continually evolving. It is changing in the manner that which we are actually. I'm able to give more examples now than I used to when I gave this presentation. The first of the pivots that we did was to repurpose. As far as our members who are facilities, let's put an example, SMX, because they had the space wherein there are no more events, they decided that they will uh, rent their kitchens out, which they call soul kitchen, and they will rent out their space as studios dahil maraming requirements. There are a lot of requirements now for them to do studios. Other facilities like the hotels managed to have their facilities become DOH accredited hotels. It
Mhm.
gave them income. In fact, proving that crisis can be opportunities. Some of them are telling us they actually earn a lot more now during the pandemic than they did under normal operations. So to them, no, to those hotels, it, it really is an example of finding opportunities in chaos. As far as World Trade Center is concerned, they were able to also make themselves a quarantine facility. If you look at the facilities here, the rooms, those are also part of MICE. These are booth contractors. They were able to pivot in becoming rooms, creating temporary rooms. So the facilities that they had, they repurposed to fit the demands of the day. Okay. In terms of the skills, of course, hindi lang facilities. In MICE, it's all about people as well. So we had to repurpose the skills of our people. We had to learn, as Professor Hines said, to create TV shows. And what does TV shows entail? There's production, okay, script writing, the IT portion, video, photography, lighting, audio, all of these things which we used to outsource, we had to now learn to to retool our staff to learn already. So that was the biggest challenge for me as an entrepreneur, to replace or to reskill. All right. On the first 2 months of the pandemic, I had to challenge my people. If you do not reskill, if you do not learn new skills that is more relevant, I will have to replace you. I'm sorry. And happily, most of them, I would say 99% of them, reskilled, and so they are still with me up to this very day. Now, we also had to retool our platforms. All right, we had to learn how to maximize the use of Zoom, StreamYard, and other platforms. As I said, no, some of my people who used to be messengers or accountants had to learn how to hold cameras. All right, boom mics, lighting. These are things that we had to equip our people so that they can be relevant. Otherwise, they become irrelevant, and there would be no use for them in my organization. So what happened? When we retooled and repurposed what we had, we decided, okay, it's time for us to get back to our core business. It's time for us to re-engage our clients. We had to re-engage them via new formats. Everything had to go virtual. Meetings, newsletters, all right? Everything had to be virtual, especially during the first few months of complete lockdown. We had to tell them that we still existed, all right? And that we still care about them and that we can be a medium that they can count on. By so doing, we also were able to create new avenues for ourselves. Some of us have pivoted into content. We're driving content throughout the internet. Some have even done blog sites, all right? In particular, this is an example of what Team Asia has done.
You know what time it is? It's time to wake up and smell the competition. Get some ideas brewing, crunch some numbers, and dish out some food for thought. There's no better time to talk shop than over your first cup of coffee. With your morning girl, Bea Lim. B2B, Breakfast to Business every Monday, now on Spotify.
Okay, so she said Spotify, but they're also on Apple now. They have Apple Podcasts, so they have several of these small podcasts that they are inhabiting the entire world. So what the pandemic did for them was they created new avenues for them to market themselves. They have latched on to the possibilities of taking their content worldwide. So now their podcast is rating and is viewed all over the world. All right. So that's again an opportunity created by the pandemic.
You know,
Okay. And then after we re-engaged our clients also, we had to recover them. We lost them. We had to recover them. For my own company, Peptarsus, what we did was we inhabited the internet with a lot of digital content. A lot of them were free. We were giving them maybe once every week. We were having a webinar for free so that our market, which is very strongly on food, that was our market. We were conscious that we can deliver events to them so that they can get information that they would be needing to adapt. And I think it worked. You know why? Because after educating the market on how they can learn via the internet, okay, and after educating the market that we can do it, there can be learning, and after educating my people that we can present ourselves as experts, we're now able to charge. It's become a revenue stream for us. Okay, this is an example of 20 sessions that we did in 10 days during our recent event. This is an omnibus of all the events that we did during the last 10 days. You see, from free content to paid content, we were able to transition it because we invested on educating the market as well as educating ourselves so that we can be confident enough that we can do it as professionals. All right. New skills equals new market. By doing so also, it opened us to new possibilities, to new products that we never did before the pandemic. In fact, we have transitioned to be like an advertising company. Here is an example of an ad that a company from France had us render. Okay, that's a series actually. They asked us to do 5 ads for them. Did we do this before the pandemic? Absolutely not. This is not our specialty, but we are happy that our clients are trusting us even though we are neophytes. Okay? And because we had a lot of clients were asking us to do this, we had to upgrade ourselves as well. Now we're doing green screens, virtual backgrounds, and trying to be a little bit more creative. Please watch this next one. Here may mga green screen na kami.
We've been in lockdown for so long. I really, really miss traveling. You know what I miss the most? Canada in spring.
No worries, Chef. we have the key ingredients from Canada. We have Canadian beef, well known for its high quality. We have world famous Canadian lobster and delicious green peas.
Yeah, I think I will. Thank you.
This is a project that the Canadian Embassy asked us to do for them. This is also a series. This is a first of 5 ads as well.
So, Chef, what do you think of the beef and the lobster?
Oh, I absolutely love them. You know, you can tell the lobster's in the prime of the season because it's so plump and juicy. And the beef was fantastic.
Indeed, in spring, this is when lobster's harvested, and the beef tastes great. Peas are just spring product.
Yeah, they were perfect.
You
They're
watch this
absolutely
portion.
perfect. Let's dig in.
Wow, food is magical. You really taste your flavors.
I know. Here we are in the Canadian spring. Cheers to that.
Absolutely. Here's the spring in Canada. Absolutely. And magical travel.
Okay, so did we do this before the pandemic? Again, the answer is no. This is a business. This is an offshoot of our business that just emerged because of the pandemic. Because we had to give my people work to do, we had to generate some revenue, and so we have transitioned. Yes, we're newbies, but we're trying to do the best that we could, and we're just continuing to fight. All right. But there is still the core of our business. MICE, after all, is about meetings, incentive conferences, and exhibitions. So do we let go of that, our main core? Of course not. So conferences have likewise transitioned into the virtual landscape. A lot of our members have created virtual conferences. Here's an example of a virtual conference done by Globally. Imagine that. 100 marketing gurus in one event coming from all over the world. I think that would not have been possible, or people would probably have not done it if not for the pandemic. The world has gotten smaller simply because we were attached to our homes, we were chained to our homes. So now the programs that we're planning is no longer confined to the space we're renting, example, World Trade Center, SMX. Our imagination has gone global, okay? Exhibitions have also pivoted, all right? There were a lot of co-members in Paseos who have entered it early. I took my time because I wanted to make sure that the kind of platform we will release is something that I'm happy with. And just about 2 weeks ago, we concluded this, but this is how we promoted it. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the very first all-virtual edition of World Food Expo. Wolfix Spring will bring you a lot of learning and sourcing opportunities. In fact, it will even have the very first all-virtual culinary competition in the country today. We miss you. We sorely miss you in Wolfix, and we know you also miss Wolfix. And so together, let us help reboot, recover, and discover Wolfix Spring. Log on, register at wolfx.com/spring, and join us in this new experience known as the ultimate food show experience for nothing. So, see you. Okay, syempre, I have to be the first one to believe in our product. That's why I'm the face of Wolfix, and so I had to push it as well. How did it turn out? Actually, it's a mixed bag because there's still education that needs to be done by the exhibitors as well as the visitors. But happily enough, there is more good than there is bad, and this is how the post event came out. This is the feedback that we got. Whew. Actually, you can't imagine how nervous we were because this is a new product. The market was not familiar with it. It's a new platform. It's something that we did not buy. It's something we developed ourselves, and it's the challenge was real. All right, but it is the new normal. It is something that we plan to pursue moving forward, but it's a testament to the spirit, all right, that we are not giving up. We are doing all we can to pivot to whatever we can so that we can keep afloat. In terms of commerce, a lot of us have also learned how to create our own stores, online stores, and the hybrid. I think in terms of pushing hybrid events, it is DOT and PPV that is leading the way.
Yes.
The very first hybrid probably came from them. It's this one. They bought the exhibitors to Bohol. They had virtual meetings in Bohol. It was broadcast live. It's hybrid. There was physical and there was virtual. I really raise my hat to TPB and DOT for showing us the way, and hopefully the effort can be sustained because we sorely need more efforts like this. If the virus we had let affect us in a bad way, we would have given up. But we like to look at the virus as problems that are opportunities in workloads. All right? We in Paseos are not giving up. In fact, we are resolute that we will make a strong comeback. That this will be our future again. Ang ganda tingnan, di ba? I get goosebumps when I see pictures like this because to an event organizer, a room full of people is blessing from heaven. All right? And because there is really no replacement for the face-to-face. There is, as Professor Hind mentioned earlier, I love teaching. I've gotten used to talking to myself, all right, by all of this speaking engagements online. But it is there is no equivalent to the warmth, the actual laughter, seeing the faces of the audience, if they're laughing, if they're tired, if they're hungry. Here, I can only see my own slides, my own face, hear my own voice for most of the time. It really is different. So we're praying for a strong comeback. What we can do in the meantime is to reassure that we can conduct safe events by following the protocols set by IATF. And so rebooting, reopening at reduced capacities, it was already allowed before at 50% until the cases rose again. But even before the cases rose, it was allowed on a very small way. MICE was allowed to come in, but of course, it's constantly on and off. So how do we plan? It's very bit difficult to plan if we're constantly on and off, on and off. But that is our reality. So there's one more final MICE that I would like to share with you, is that we will be resilient. Kahit anong iba to sa amin, kahit anong virus ang dumating, we will be resilient. Okay, because we believe that MICE is key to economic development and to helping the economy of the Philippines rise again. So with that, I'd like to thank everybody. Thank you for spending this afternoon with me. 30 minutes, it was all I was given. And so, maraming salamat.
Thank you, Joel.
Thank you.
You're great. I'm so happy.